being secret Jews. He's inveighed against Muslims being allowed to immigrate to France. That's a position, incidentally, that his daughter shares as she campaigns to be president of France now. Part of her campaigning to be president of France last week resulted in her taking a detour to the Kremlin. It's a weird day. Nobody quite knew where Marine Le Pen had gone for the day, and then she suddenly turned up without warning in this meeting with Vladimir Putin, this one-on-one. The Russian government is essentially openly supporting the far-right National Front candidacy of Marine Le Pen as she runs for president in France. Russian banks have made loans of millions of euros.
Oh, really?
To the Front
Donald
National
Trump.
during this campaign. Today, at their press conference on the Senate Intelligence investigation into the Trump-Russia connection, Intelligence Committee Chairman Senator Ritter said there was no doubt that Russia was trying to influence the outcome of the presidential elections in Germany and in France. He said there was no doubt that Russia, after interfering in our election, was now interfering in Germany and France. And in the case of this proto-fascist candidate in France, it is possible that the reason Russia likes her so much is because of her domestic politics, because her party is so right-wing and, forgive me, just frankly racist. I mean, Vladimir Putin, I don't know how he thinks, but he might
Like
see that as a
Hawaii.
feature, not a bug. Next week in St. Petersburg, Russia's going to be hosting something called the International Russia Conservative Forum. They say they want to, quote, promote the establishment of a common, constant-acting Russian-European conservative elite group, uniting the political, industrial, economical, and religious elites in Russia and Europe. This is the second one of these international Russian conservative forums that Russia has hosted in the last few years. The first one was in 2015. It was sponsored by a branch of Putin's political party. It was also in St. Petersburg. That one in 2015 attracted American far-right racist fringe characters like Jared Taylor. He was a prolific pseudo-academic American white supremacist. You might remember him from the post-election alt-right gathering in Washington, D.C.
And I'm white. Look at this in Hawaii.
Heil Trump. Oh, I'm sorry. They said it was Hail Trump, not Heil Trump. But with the stiff arm salute getting in the way of the camera lenses, it was kind of hard to read their lips and get that subtlety. Regardless of whether or not Russia likes the proto-fascism and the racism and the anti-Muslim bigotry of the Front National, regardless of whether or not that's the attraction, Russia definitely likes Marine Le Pen. And one thing I know they like about Marine Le Pen is that if she gets the presidency of France, she will do her damnedest to pry France out of Europe as well. Russia supports anything to increase the centripetal force that is pulling apart institutions of the West. Russia's overall goal in global strategy is to knock the United States down.
And they said no scared bomb China here and away from the Pentagon. That's Dick Cheney.
To disrupt and divide and undermine and
Dick Cheney, look.
any Western alliances and international
There's Dick
institutions
Cheney and
that
Bush.
serve as a counterweight to them in the world. That, in fact, serve as defining any sort of international, small d, democratic, liberal values, Western order. All of the institutions that support that, Russia sees as the enemy. And they will do anything to undermine them as best they can. And when they have the advantage and when they have the momentum, they will take it. And that Russian idea of defeating your adversaries by splitting them up, by promoting divisions among them and within them, it seems almost ridiculous to think about it. But that strategy even extends to us as well. It even extends to us in the United States of America in a very specific way. You might have heard about the newly energized current iteration of the California secessionist movement, the California separatist movement.
California.
There have been low-key, low-profile kind of California insurrectionist movements for years. It's generally conservative parts of California that say California should split up and the liberal and urban and minority-heavy part of the state should be its own thing, while the conservative, rural, white part of California should become like a, southern Idaho or something. That kind of thing has existed for a long time. What's new in California is this surprisingly slick, online organized, moderate or even progressive-seeming effort that California as a whole should secede from the United States of America. I'm from California. My whole family lives in California. I know lots of people in California who have talked to me, half joking or not,
I lived in
about
California.
how appealing this Cal exit idea is since Donald Trump was elected president. But the leader of the organization that has spearheaded that movement, the leader of Yes California, he really does live in Russia. He lives in Siberia.
That's yeah.
Last September, the Yes California guy, who conveniently lives in Russia, the Cal exit guy, and also some right-wing Texas separatists all got invited to Moscow.
Oh,
to the
figures.
Ritz Hotel in central Moscow for a Kremlin-funded conference called the Anti-Globalization Movement of Russia.